What's up, my good friends? I normally don't make a lot of monthly TBRs or like wrap-ups or anything, but I'm doing this one. It's just kind of a TBR, I guess, because there's a theme for the month of March. And I'm actually making this up. I'm making this theme up. This is not like established in the BookTube or Discord sphere. I'm doing this for me, and I'm doing it to see if you guys want to join along. Because if you are not reading memoirs, you are missing out. So we're going to talk about some of my favorite memoirs that I want to read in March, and what exactly a memoir or a personal essay is. So roll the intro. Alright, first of all, I want to apologize for the background noise. My guinea pigs are fighting just off camera over there. They're not going to hurt each other, they're just arguing. It's a roommate squabble. So first of all, let's start out. What is a memoir? A memoir is not the same as an autobiography. A lot of times those are used interchangeably. Like I've heard the autobiography of Benjamin Franklin called his memoirs. That's not true. A memoir is based on the word memory. So memoir, memory, get it? So basically what that means is a memoir is usually centered around a specific event, a specific time in a person's life, or a specific theme. But it all comes from someone's memory. Now, some of the most famous memoirs that you've probably heard of are Hillbilly Eulogy, Orange is the New Black, Wild by Cheryl Strayed, The Year of Magical Thinking. Those are all big ones. I have a few smaller ones that I want to talk about that are not common knowledge. Now, some I do have are personal essays, which are different from memoirs. A personal essay is topical, whereas memoir is storytelling. So another great nonfiction writer I'm sure you've heard of is James Baldwin. James Baldwin is not a memoirist. He's an essayist. So like Notes from a Native Son. That's not a memoir. That's a personal essay. So with me, I have two personal essays, a few physical memoirs. I've already mentioned a couple. And then I have two on my Kindle that I'm going to talk about. One I've already read, one I haven't. So the first memoir that I personally want to read coming up in March is Smoke Gets in Your Eyes, Tales from the Crematorium, Other Lessons from the Crematory by Caitlin Doherty, who you might know as Ask a Mortician. She makes great content. I've actually read the first chapter of this, and I used like a happy Valentine's Day bookmark to do it because that was just funny for me. Like, it's about death. I like reading about death. I actually sold life insurance for a long time, and I am probably going to make a video about my favorite books about death because I like death. I like reading and learning about death and all that. So this is a memoir of Caitlin when she was first starting to work at a mortuary. It opens when she's a 23-year-old kid straight out of school and just continues to go on. So this is a memoir. It is a memoir revolving around her first years of working in the death industry at a mortuary. A mortuary is the same thing as a funeral home. She talks about in the first chapter how it kind of just depends on whether you're a mortician or a funeral director or a funeral home or a mortuary, depending on where you live in the US. I use them interchangeably. As you guys know, I'm in Texas, so I hear other people say funeral home, so maybe funeral home is what it's called in Texas, and that's what's on all the signs. So I think in Texas, people call it funeral home. I say mortuary sometimes. So Smoke Gets in Your Eyes, and Other Lessons from the Crematory. This one I'm going to read. I've already started the first chapter and I'm really excited. So this one might be the one I'm most excited to read. And then another book by Caitlin is From Here to Eternity. And this is about her traveling the world in search of the good death. So again, this is a memoir or a travel journal, more of a memoir because I think it's story form. So it follows a narrative. It's not straight up journal entries. So from here to eternity, searching the world, traveling the world to find the good death. Yeah, so this one's definitely newer than Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. I think Smoke Gets in Your Eyes is from like 2015. This is from 2017. So all pre-COVID. Let's see what year this was published. I think it was like a while ago in our contemporary era. Let's see, Caitlin Doherty, 2014, even older than I thought. And another memoir that's been making waves that I've heard is just painful and super cringe. Spare by Prince Harry. It's kind of funny if you hold it like that, just how big his chin and jaw looks like. And like, is he related to the Habsburgs? That was low. But so Spare, I guess it's his story of dealing with the death of his mother, which is incredibly sad. I don't remember the death of Princess Diana. I was a very small child. I don't know much about Diana. Other than that, she was really nice to people with AIDS and was really involved in charity and was harassed by journalists. So I'm interested to read this. I know Prince Harry is not Joan Didion. He's an amateur writer, so I'm really gonna focus more on the story than the actual writing in this. Caitlin Doherty, based on her content on YouTube, is a pretty good writer. She could use with a few. She could do with a few CNF, creative nonfiction, lessons, but she has such an amazing story, and so does Harry, that the writing at the end of the day does not really matter. It's when you are someone like Joan Didion who tries to take the mundane and make it interesting that the writing becomes really important. So another one I'm going to mention that I just realized is still on my shelf is Into the Planet. I'll put the author's name. I can't remember the author's name. She is a cave diver. I've never really understood what made cave diving so dangerous until I read the book. It's called Into the Planet. And she's, again, not a great writer. I'll attach my GoodReads review down below. But when she talks about cave diving through icebergs and all the equipment and why it's so dangerous and just how quirky these cave diving people are, it's really interesting. But when she gets into like her personal life and her divorce and online dating, it's just boring. So there are parts when it's sloggy, and I kind of just like kept going through like, okay, when are you gonna get back into a cave? But she's very good with imagery because I think she's written for Nat Geo and she is also a photographer. So the images she puts forth, the panic when there's like a silt storm, or how those rebreathers work, and just why so many people who do this die, and what the purpose of doing something which I'm sure to a whole lot of people seems stupid and ridiculous, like cave diving. Why would you risk your life for something like that? She tells us, and she gives us her reasoning behind it, and I respect it. Would I ever try cave diving? Probably not. I probably wouldn't even try regular diving because I have so many problems with my ears and sinuses. I think my head might blow up if I ever tried to go underwater. So I do like the water, but I don't go very deep when I swim. Okay, moving on. This one is probably going to be the most controversial one, and it's probably going to get me a lot of crap, but it's Infidel by Ayaan Hirsi Ali. Most famous ex-Muslim in the world. I am very critical of Islam because I am a skeptic and an atheist and a liberal, which you know, and there's an interview from a long time ago, not that long ago, like 2014, of Sam Harris, can't remember the other guy, and Ben Affleck, where Sam Harris says, liberals have let us down when it comes to standing up for liberal principles, because we talk about liberation of women and homosexuals, And then when you say that in the Muslim world, this is what is missing, then they just equate it to bigotry and all of a sudden you're a terrible person. And I didn't believe that when I first saw that interview. But I have experienced people being like, just standing up for these principles in Islam, yet being very critical of them in Christianity. So there's definitely a double standard when it comes to criticizing religion. Christianity, people are very, very, when I say people, I mean liberals, we're very easy and open and will criticize the crap out of it. But when you start talking about Islam, people will like tread lightly. I don't know. I don't really know why that is. But I get a lot of crap for being so critical of Islam, and I'm really interested in what is inside this book. And there's also another book by an ex-Muslim called Unveiled. That one was set up, like if you look at the cover, it says like how liberals have enabled radical Islam, but it's not a personal essay. It's a memoir. So it's probably pretty similar to this. And so I've got not moving on yet. I want to talk about The Girl on the Balcony by Olivia Hussey. This one I'm going to read, and it's about her life after Romeo and Juliet. She played Juliet in the 1968 version of Romeo and Juliet, and we know she and Leonard are suing Paramount because of the nude scene in that movie, and yeah, they should. Good for them. So I'm going to read that one. It's not very long. It was $3 on Kindle. I bought it a long time ago because I think it was on sale for like 99 cents, and I snagged it, and now I'm finally going to read it. I've taught Romeo and Juliet. It's fun to teach. Olivia Hussey was an amazing Juliet. She was so great in that movie. But it's really too bad about the way Zeph treated she and Leonard. So I'm excited to read that one. Another good memoir that I have on my Kindle is Riding in Cars with Boys. This was a movie, but I don't know what the hell they did with that movie. It was so different than the memoir. The only basically similar thing was that it took place in war. There was a teenage mother, and it's about her getting her master's degree in writing, but it's called Riding in Cars with Boys because after she had her baby, like, guys would just come around the block and she'd get in the car and do it with them. So it's very funny and self-deprecating. It's short. It's not that deep, but it's fun. So the two personal essays I want to read this month are The Four Horsemen. So Hitchens, Dawkins, Harris, and Dennett. I don't know much about Dennett. These are just conversations with them, very short. The conversation that sparked an atheist revolution. So we'll get to that. And then Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs? Again, by Caitlin Doty. These are big questions from tiny mortals about death. I have a second copy of this in my classroom, and my students love it, but I haven't read it yet. So this is personal essay, more like a Q&A, but I'm really excited for it. So those are some memoirs and personal essays that I wanted to talk about for the upcoming month of March. Some of them I'm going to read, some of them I've already read. So thank you so much for watching. Keep reading, keep writing, keep loving words, and I'll see you next time. Bye.